What up, y'all? Corey here. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a very common topic on this show, lead generation. More specifically, though, referrals. Last night, I hosted a private dinner for entrepreneurs here in Austin, Texas, and one of the people that attended it owns a gym in town, and I asked him what is his marketing strategies for his business, and he was very blunt about it. He said, all we do is just make sure that when people come into the gym that they have an experience that is so good that they want to tell their friends and family about our gym, and that's how we get all of our leads is primarily through referrals and word of mouth. And I love that. And just on top of that, though, which is what we're going to talk about in this episode specifically, is that there are ways to incentivize referrals and to get more of them and to even create systems around them. And so that's what we're going to talk about on this episode, are the 3 ways to grow a strong referral base for your business. Here we go. All right, the first one I want to talk about is bees and butterflies. So I recently became a plant dad. We had a neighbor that actually gave us a tomato plant, and we've also been growing different types of herbs like cilantro and parsley and rosemary. And through growing this, I'm learning a lot about just the arts of being a green thumb, one could say. But something that I've actually known for a long time from somebody that grew up in Minnesota is that certain fruit and vegetable plants actually require cross-pollination in order to grow. Specifically apples. Apples are a big deal back home in Minnesota. And if you only have one singular apple tree and there's no other fruit or apple trees around, I believe it won't grow any apples, or at most it might grow a few and they're not very healthy and they're not very good. And this is true for a lot of different types of plants. And why do I bring this up? Because your business actually works the same way. I believe that referrals are the lifeblood of most businesses. I don't think really any businesses exist for the long term if they don't have something that's so good that people want to talk about it and share it with their friends and family. But you can do so in a strategic way with what's called cross-pollination. And what this is basically collaborating with other businesses that have the same type of clientele that you do. So for example, if you are a doctor, then it's often good to cross-pollinate with a chiropractor. If you are a physical therapist, it's often good to cross-pollinate with an occupational therapist. If you are a personal trainer, it is often good to cross-pollinate with health coaches. This is true for every industry across the board, but realistically what you're looking for is people that have complementary businesses where you're serving the same person, but you can both serve them in a unique manner that's not competitive. And so I say, do as the bees and the butterflies do, and they cross-pollinate. And if you don't understand that reference, they are a requirement for cross-pollinating flowers and fruits and all those fun things. And yeah, so that is my first recommendation, is to find complementary businesses that you can cross-pollinate with or collaborate with, and find referral partners that go back and forth. All right, the second way to build a strong referral base is to understand networking. And it's not as basic as just going out at network. There is something that you absolutely must do in order to make it effective and to get referrals from it. And it's probably not what you think. It's actually giving, not asking. So here in Austin, we actually have a neighbor who has a garden right next to where we live here, and it's becoming spring and moving into summer here. And so a lot of her plants and vegetables are starting to grow. And for whatever reason, she's decided to start giving us some of her lettuce out of her garden. And it's been amazing. It's been delicious. We've been eating it whenever she gives it to us. And as a return for the favor, I've actually recently got into sourdough bread making, and I've been giving her loaves of sourdough bread. And there's a word for what we're doing here. It's called reciprocity. It is literally a universal law of the universe, is that when we do good for others, they in return want to do good for us. Guess what? Referrals work the exact same way. When you give, you get. Costco has known this for millennia. It's the reason that they give you samples, is they know that when you get a sample, you in turn want to return the favor and buy the product. So ultimately, where am I going with all this? My point is that you have to find ways to give when you go to networking occasions or networking events or even in your local community, and realizing that it's actually in the giving that you're going to get in return 10 times what you even gave in the first place. And so make sure to remember the universal law of the universe of reciprocity is that you have to give first in order to receive. All right, the third thing I want to talk about in regards to building a strong referral base is probably not what you expect. It's actually paid communities. So I've been a part of free communities. I actually host one here in Austin, Texas, and I've also been a part of paid communities, and I've actually just recently launched one here in Austin. And there's this really interesting psychology thing that happens when somebody's in a paid community. It changes the way that they engage with it and interact with it. They want to be a part of it. They want to collaborate with the people that are in it. They want to contribute to the community, because when you pay to be a part of something, this incentivizes you to actually care about the community and to want to support other people that are in it, so that they in return support something that you are doing as well. There seems to be something about paid communities that just bakes in trust and reciprocity, is that you genuinely care about it because it almost probably feels more tribe-like in terms of if you don't actually play well with others, then there's a chance that you get kicked out of it and then you completely lose your money. I'm sure there's a lot of psychology things happening there in terms of like paid versus free communities, but the ultimate point is that if you want a strong referral base, having some sort of paid community that you're actually a part of can really be helpful for you and other people that are in this paid community. Side note, if you happen to be a health-related business owner in Austin, Texas, and you are looking for something like this, I am actually releasing a paid community. Be sure to reach out and let me know. But the real message here is just like make sure you understand that both free and paid communities have their value. But for when it comes to referrals, I do believe that paid, you're going to get far more bang for your buck. Just as a final recap, make sure to cross-pollinate or to find complementary businesses. Make sure that when you're networking, you're going to give, not to get. And number 3 is I truly believe that paid communities outweigh free communities, even though they both have their value. Hope this is helpful. Would love to hear you guys' feedback, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Peace.
Hey friend, thanks for listening to the show. And if you have any feedback for me about the show or any other guests that you'd want to see in the show, definitely shoot me a message. I love engaging with my audience and figuring out how I can provide the best value possible to the people listening to this show. Before you go, I only have one ask of you, and that would be to check out my 3 Tips Tuesday newsletter. It's 3 marketing tips every Tuesday specifically for the health and fitness entrepreneur to help them attract new leads. If you press the link in the description, it'll take you directly to the archive of all my previous newsletters, and you can decide for yourself if it's something for you. If you end up finding it helpful, you can just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get it in your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks again, and keep hustling, my friends.